Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Welcome to the experience. I am Drew. You already know me, and nobody is here. I got nobody here with me tonight. I am on my own. Mr. Justin had a prior arrangement, so he's going to handle business, just like I'm going to handle business tonight. I haven't done one of these. Matter of fact, I think the last time I did a solo show was I think when we were reviewing Mania from last year, Justin had to kind of leave mid-show. So I guess that was the last time I actually did a solo. But no worries. Like I said, nothing I haven't done before. Let's see who's here. Savage Elite. Devin, the Tribal Chief from the formerly known Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. He's also the owner and the founder of the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Check his YouTube channel out, guys. If you're a fan of Destiny 2, he streams Destiny. He also has been reacting to episodes of Reacher. That's a dope show. And then Kyle K, Charlie Brown, Maurice, The Hatfield, and Simply Precious. So we got a nice little show. I'm just going to run through the news real quick. Well, since we did last Friday's show for SmackDown, or I guess after SmackDown, I meant. There's really no reason why we should talk about SmackDown, so we talked about last Friday. So let's go to Raw. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw. Where was Raw this past Monday, if you guys remember? The show opens with Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. Interesting that they started this match off to begin the show, but you kind of figured... I think everyone kind of figured going in that the Intercontinental title match was going to main event the show. Anaheim. Kyle K, thank you. It was in Anaheim, California. Otherwise, fabulous match between Drew and Cody. Drew's on the best run of his career. He is more interesting than he's ever been in a while. And this is coming from a guy... I've always defended Drew. I like Drew. I defended his run during the COVID era. I thought he was putting on, really good wrestling matches that just kind of seemed to go unnoticed by a lot of people. And I always felt like I was the only one being like, hey, he's actually doing really good. But nonetheless, he is doing a great job in this heel role, and injuring CM Punk is the best thing to ever happen to him. Maybe not the best thing to ever happen to Punk, but you get my drift. And Cody's Captain America. He's Christ. Cody Christ on a cross. But this is a great match. Great back and forth action. I don't think these two have ever really worked a match against each other, to my knowledge. I know they're in a tag team. That's as much as I know, but I don't think they ever really had a match with each other. But they worked great with each other. This was a pay-per-view quality match. Would I call it, the main event of WrestleMania? No. But maybe the main event of Backlash worthy match, but like Justin always says, great TV match. And then during the match, you had the Bloodline come out. Not Roman or Heyman or Rock. Of course, but you had Jimmy and Solo come out. Jimmy came out and fucked with the match and got the referee distracted. And as Cody's going for a crossroads, you see Solo repeat the ending of WrestleMania last year by spiking Cody. Cody getting his first loss since wrestling Brock at, what was it, Backlash? Not Backlash. Was it the Saudi Arabian pay-per-view? I believe so, yeah. That was the last time Cody actually lost. But as far as getting pinned, the last time he got pinned was against Roman because of Solo. So Drew got the win, which I was a little skeptical going in. I'm like, how are they gonna who's going to win, who's going to lose, because Drew's on a hot streak, Cody's on a hot streak. Are they going to do like a double disqualification, double count out? You know, because you still need to protect both men. You obviously need to protect Cody, and you need to protect Drew, because Drew's on a hot streak. You can't just make him lose. Granted, he'd be losing to a main event caliber talent. First TV loss since 2015, I believe. You talking about for Cody? I was just talking about like a loss in general, but sorry about that. But yeah, I like this because it continues to stack the deck against Cody going into Mania, because all it's doing is just making him look more like Jesus Christ on a cross. As I've always said, Cody Christ. You know, but I like this. I like this because, you know, Cody loses. He gets screwed over by the bloodline again. And again, it just makes him look even more like a martyr going into Mania. And all this does is just make Drew look even more hotter, you know, going into Mania. Or going into the Elimination Chamber, which he's more than likely going to win. But we'll get to, whatchamacallit, predictions later on. So that happened. Let's see. You had the Elimination Chamber Qualifier Battle Royal. Basically a last chance Battle Royal for anyone who lost a match or who didn't get a chance to compete. I mean, this seemed a little predictable because I honestly wanted Chelsea to win, because I love Chelsea, and I wanted her to, you know, get in a big match. Not to say she was gonna, you know, win and go to Mania, even though I wouldn't have minded that at all, but I just wanted her to win and be a part of the match, because I think she's been doing great character work. And, you know, RJ, and I believe Justin, you know, we've all agreed that of all the Triple H, you know, rehires, I think Chelsea has been probably one of the best, if not the best. You know, I thought she was the MVP of the Rumble, just like taking every like hit and body slam and everything. But Raquel Gonzalez, whatever you want to call her, she came back. You know, she made her return tonight. It was nice seeing Raquel, because I like Raquel. And she came back, and when I saw her, I went, oh shit, she's gonna win. Which, again, I'm not mad about, because I like Raquel. So she came out, she won, and there was a nice little spot at the end where Chelsea never officially got thrown out of the match. So she was hiding, and she did the Santino Marella spot, where she was hiding the whole time. She came out, and she was going to throw Raquel out, and Raquel ended up throwing her out. So Raquel's in the Women's Elimination Chamber match. That's good. You know, I like Raquel. But, again, would have liked to see Chelsea win. And then there was an interview with Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. Not getting good audio. Going to... Just so you know, guys, there's the show chat. The Hatfield said not getting good audio. Trying to retry my laptop. So I don't know why I always get mad when people talk on here. I'm not getting mad. I'm just like, well, guys, there's a chat room for a reason. No, you guys are good. I'm just busting your balls. Yeah, the chat room's filling up. So there's a Becky Lynch, I got that mixed up. So there was a Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax interview, side-by-side interview. That was fine for what it was. I'll be honest, I was actually starting to fall asleep through most of the show. Not because it was bad. I was just really tired. It was a long day from work, and I don't really get a lot of sleep. So a lot of the show is just me kind of like going in and out of sleep. And again, not because of the content of the show. And then next you had an R-Truth, I guess a Dateline interview with him talking about everything that's been going on with the Bloodline, or not the Bloodline, the Judgment Day, which I thought was genius. I thought what could have made it even better, since it was like a Dateline ripoff, was bring in Keith Morrison. That would have been so fucking cool. I would have loved that. I would have lost my shit. But I you know, Jackie Redmond was fine. But R-Truth expresses disappointment and dismantling of his relationship with the Judgment Day. And the whole time he's wearing a blue poncho. And Jackie Redmond isn't, so... I don't know. The R-Truth stuff, like, to me, it's hot and cold. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it isn't. This is a case of it being funny. Like, this is just amazing. I loved it. Alright. What do we got next? And then, you know, other comments he made where it's like the first time he met the Judgment Day, it was special. It's like the first time John Cena put on a pair of jean shorts, and when the Judgment Day broke his heart, it was, you know, he hadn't had his heart broken like that since he watched the season finale of This Is Us. Good stuff. Speaking of Judgment Day, you had R-Truth and The Miz and DIY versus the Judgment Day in a 8-man tag. Fun match. Did its job. Did what it was supposed to do. You kind of figured that the Judgment Day are going to win. I mean, more and more it looks like the tag title match at Mania is going to be the Judgment Day versus R-Truth and Miz, just so R-Truth can get that feel-good win, which I'm fine with. I mean, the crowd loves R-Truth. The crowd was chanting, "We want truth." I don't think Truth has been this hot in a while. I think the last time he was ever really that interesting was in, this is just to me, was in 2011 when he was, you know, heel Truth and doing the little Jimmy stuff. But yeah, he's over as fuck at 52. And the guy can still work like he's 30. It's unbelievable. I just... honestly, I would love to see if R-Truth can get like a title run. I don't know if it's just me. And it doesn't have to be like a long title run. It can just be like 2 weeks. Like, just put the title in for like 2 weeks and then have him lose to, you know, whoever. I don't know, like, do the Mick Foley thing. Like, have him win 1 week and then have him lose, like, immediately the next week. Just so you can have that feel-good moment of finally being a WWE champion. I mean, I wouldn't mind that, personally. But, I don't know, maybe I'm alone on that one. But, yeah, Judgment Day got the win. Fun match. I guess a little tidbit. So, since WWE and UFC are in cahoots, you know, working together in this merger, I know our buddy Jeff Lippman, our resident lawyer, Jeff, had stated that, you know, look out for more UFC, you know, cameos, so to speak. And this did happen. UFC star Michael Chandler was in the crowd and called out Conor McGregor. So, if you're a fan of UFC, you probably thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I thought it was cool. So, I mean, if you're going to be, you know, in bed with another company, you know, why not have your stars cross over to kind of put over their shit and then vice versa. Becky Lynch promo. This is where I really kind of tuned out. Again, I love Becky Lynch. I think she gets a lot of flack. I don't know why. I think it has to do more with Seth than anything else. I don't know, just, again, I don't want to sound like I'm being a pig. She's lost a lot of weight to the point where, I don't want to say it looks unhealthy, but it's just like, this girl used to have muscle on her. So I don't know if maybe she had to lose weight for a medical reason or what have you. I'm not going to speculate. I don't know. I think Betty, that's my wife's name. I think Becky needs to really put some muscle back on, because she's more than likely going to wrestle Rhea at Mania. It's more than likely going to be a good match, but just the aesthetic of, you look at Rhea and she's like bulked up. She looks like this Amazon goddess. And then you look at Becky and she's just like the size of, you know, Rhea's leg. So, just the aesthetic wise, I know it's wrestling, and at the end of the day, you know, they're going to have a good match, but I don't know. Becky needs to put some pounds on her. And, just everybody else that came out that was involved in the Elimination Chamber match happened, and you kind of already figured what was going to happen during that match, or during that scuffle. Chad Gable and Ivar, as expected, they had a good match. Ivar, you know, has vastly shown improvement since, you know, the loss of his partner, and he's gone to show out that he's something on the main roster. As far as what that something is, not saying he's going to be a future world champion. Maybe, I mean, his glass ceiling is maybe a, you know, Intercontinental champion, US champion. I wouldn't mind that personally, but just not now, obviously. And I mean, this is just a feud with Chad Gable, you know, for the whole thing going on with what the fuck is it called? Alpha Academy. I keep blanking on shit. Good match. I mean, what else can I say? Good match. Ivar is a good utility player. Yeah, you're right, Devin. And Chad Gable's Chad Gable. Chad, is, the one of the best guys on the company, maybe the most underrated wrestler, on the brand right now, or just in the company in general. And this is a guy that you look at him and you're like, they really do go back and forth and, play hot potato with him. Because, one moment he's in a serious feud with Gunther. And then the next moment he's, doing comedy shtick. Which, again, I don't mind because he can pull off the comedy shtick because he's entertaining and it's getting over. But I kind of wish they would just find like a healthy medium to where, he's able to pull both off. At the same time, still look like a serious contender. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind seeing Chad Gable and Gunther at Mania. Let Chad have his Mania moment, whether he wins or lose. So, because we don't really know who Gunther is going to face. I mean, at the way it looks, it might be Sami Zayn, which I wouldn't mind because that would be a great match too. Maybe Braun Breaker. Who knows? We're not going to know for a while. And I'm glad that I don't know. But a good match. Gable won with an ankle lock, so yippee. And I say that very condescendingly. In the main event, you have Gunther versus Jey Uso for the Intercontinental Championship. I think a lot of us figured Jey Uso was not going to win. The question was how. And at the beginning of the show, when Jimmy and Solo came out to cost Cody, you kind of figured that was going to be the how. But it still didn't. Yeah, Maurice, you're right. It still didn't take away from the match. I thought the match was great. Or maybe not great. I would say it was a really good match. Maybe not a great match, but a really good match. I have this thing with Jay where he's over. The people love him. He gets a reaction. People love his theme. They do the hand wave. I call it the Wu-Tang, hand thing. Maybe that's just me. They love it. As soon as the bell rings, not to say he's a bad wrestler, but it's just like there's something missing about his arsenal. Because he does a lot of super kicks and like he has these really weird, punches. These weird worked punches. I mean, it's obviously not bothering the crowd because, very few stars that we have where all the crowd really cares about is the presentation. And as far as the match goes, they just want to see, an entertaining match. With Jay, they don't care that he does, 20 super kicks in the match and throws kind of wonky looking work punches. All they care about is that he's over and that he has a good catchphrase. And that's fine with me. I can't shit on it. But yeah, he had a really good match with Gunther, which it's Gunther who's going to have a bad match against Gunther. Good back and forth action, and Jay was going for the big splash. And as soon as he's going for 1, 2, you hear the bell, someone ring the bell, and you see somebody in a hoodie, which at this point, they really have to be self-aware about why are you wearing hoodies when we know who you are? Come on, we knew it was going to be Jay. But, and then Jay, takes off his hoodie with a shit grin. As he's being escorted out of the arena, Jay takes him out, goes for another splash. Gunther counters it and goes for a pin. So Gunther, and it looked like Gunther might have dinged his leg. So I don't know if anyone knows the status on Gunther, but I haven't heard anything, so I guess it wasn't that serious. But Gunther gets the win. He's still the Intercontinental Champion. Just surpassed Pedro Morales for over 600 days as the Intercontinental Champion. So Gunther, I don't know what you guys think. Would you say Gunther is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, or at least belongs in that top 3, top 5 of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time? I personally think so. Who else would you probably put in that pantheon of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time? Obviously, yeah. Right, I'm trying to think of a few. I mean, Jericho, I think, has had the most reigns. Albert, come on. Mr. Perfect, yeah, I mean, he belongs up there, definitely. Bret Hart, probably. Who else? I'm trying to think of a few. Miz. Maybe. That's a big maybe. Razor. I mean, Razor's definitely had memorable matches as the Intercontinental Champion, so I'll give you that one. Macho Man, okay. Steamboat. I don't know. This is an interesting question. And again, this coincides with our Q&A that we're having this Saturday, and this is also going to be a half Q&A. Shit, I can't think right now. Reaction show or whatever for the Elimination Chamber this Saturday. So if you guys have any questions, or if you still haven't put in any questions for the Q&A, or if you have, add some this Saturday. So and then afterwards there was a big beatdown with Jimmy, where Jimmy just beats the shit out of Jay. Oh, I know you will, Savage. By the way, we had fun with that fast food deal from last month. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, Jimmy beat the shit out of Jay and told him, no matter how big you get, I'm always going to be the bigger brother. So all but confirms that it's going to be Jimmy and Jay at Mania, which I'm fine with, but it's just like I'd be more invested in it if Jimmy wasn't always losing matches. Like, if they had built Jimmy up as more of a serious threat, almost as serious as Jay, I'd be fine with it. But the fact that Jimmy just loses all the time. And I hope they don't pull a Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy from Mania where Matt won by some bullshit. Like, just Jay, and I'm going to give credit to RJ and Monty for this. Because I listened to their show earlier. Jay just needs to go out there and beat the fuck out of Jimmy. Just, essentially a squash match. Like, he just beats the ever-living dog shit out of Jimmy. And that's how he gets his win. This match does not need to be competitive, because both guys wrestle the same. It's just going to be nothing but super kicks and weirdly work punches. And yeets and no yeets. So, Jay needs to just beat the ever-living dog shit out of Jimmy. Like, that's how it needs to go. It needs to be a squash, not a competitive match. But that was Raw, people. Not a bad show. Like I said, I kept drifting in and out of sleep, not because the show was bad, but you already guys know. It's like Matt versus Nick Jackson. Essentially, yeah, pretty much, Savage Elite. That's basically how the match would go once it does happen. It's like the Young Bucks versus the Young Bucks. So, yeah. I see Don Reynolds here. What's up, Don Reynolds? Let's breeze through NXT. NXT happened last night. It was actually taped. So the only show this week that was not taped was Raw. Every other show this week before Elimination Chamber will be taped, and that includes SmackDown. So let's get to NXT real quick. Sorry, I could clear my throat. The first match on the card was Oba Femi defending the North American Championship versus Lexis King. Lexis King came out and accepted a challenge from Oba Femi. And this is a squash match. And this is what it needed to be. It needed to be a squash match. Did not need to be competitive. Me and Justin, our biggest... When he defended his title against Dragon Lee at the most recent NXT show, one of the biggest bones of contention was it was a little bit too competitive, and Dragon Lee was taking down Oba. Like, when Oba gets taken down, it needs to be a big deal. I'm sorry, a big deal. And someone like fucking Dragon Lee should not be taking him down. So, but Oba dominated whatchamacallit, King with, dominance, of course. And that's the way it should have gone. So, there you go. And then Von Wagner had a segment with Stone, which sadly Justin will not be talking about. I know Justin wanted to talk about Von Khali. So, it's sad. It's very sad, people. Chase U and Nathan Frazier and Axiom interrupt the Wolf Dogs. The Wolf Dogs came out to celebrate their tag team championship win from the previous week. And then out came Axiom and Nathan Frazier and Chase U to determine, who's going to be the number one contender. I'm going to be the number one contender, blah, blah, blah. And then they determined a match for later on, so we will talk about that. Roxanne Perez versus Ren St. Clair. I still just think it's weird why they called her Ren, not just Maddie, but whatever. This is an okay match. I still support St. Clair. She came from San Antonio. She came from RCW, so I'm going to support my Texas girls, as did Roxanne. So we got 2 RCW alums. So, awesome. I'm liking the new Roxanne Perez. Actually, guys, give me 1 second. Let me mute my mic. I gotta clear my throat. Give me 1 second. Didn't want to clear my throat all gross like that. But again, I'm liking the new Roxanne Perez. This doesn't seem forced. This doesn't seem like an actress that's trying to play a role. This generally seems like she's frustrated. And it's working well because it happened gradually, and that's why it's working out much better than it did. And they had an okay match. Wasn't anything to really write home about or really remember, but it was a decent match. And Roxanne won just like she should have. And just adding more tension between her and Lyra Valkyria. And then there was another promo, another mysterious vignette, saying men deny their truth. I will be a mirror to it. Still unsure what that is. If it was Julia, it wouldn't have things about men. So it would be describing a man. So it's definitely not Okada. I mean, it'd be pretty fucking amazing if it was Okada, but it's not Okada. Maurice Bear is asking if it's Bo Dallas. I wouldn't want it to be Bo Dallas, personally. I don't know, because they've done that before in NXT, where they'll have these really they'll have these cryptic, kind of cool looking vignettes, and then it ends up being somebody that's already established. I don't like that, because they did that with, I remember they did that with, she's Athena now. Who is she in NXT? Ember Moon. There you go. Where they had these really cryptic, vignettes of somebody riding on a motorcycle, and you're like, oh, who's this? Hey, what's up, RJ? And it ends up being Ember Moon. You're like, oh, Ember Moon. Really? That was the surprise? But anybody that's coming in, this is a solo show. Justin had prior arrangements, so it's just me for tonight. But yeah, I wouldn't hate if it was Bo Dallas. It's one of those things it'd be nice to see him back, and to see him in a new role, and be taken more seriously. But wouldn't hate it. But it's just one of those things of I'd rather this lead to somebody that's new. But that's just me. Josh Briggs versus Brooks Jensen. Good match. Good back and forth action between two Haases. I like Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs is kind of like a new Bradshaw. Hopefully he's not a dick like Bradshaw. But he's a new Bradshaw. And Brooks Jensen, I like. He can be that, stomp and clap babyface, that every company needs. He kind of looks like Magnum TA a little bit. And they had a thing last week where Briggs kind of got in Jensen's face and told him, man up. Either man up or shut up. So they went out here, had a match, and they just beat the air-living dog shit out of each other, and I loved it. It was aggressive. You saw two Haases, two guys who aren't exactly pretty boys, who aren't in the best of shape, who don't do fancy, suicide torpedoes or whatever the fuck they're called. They just use their fists and their leg and their feet and just beat and kick the air-living dog shit out of each other. And I like it. I love it. And of course, Briggs got the win afterwards. When Briggs won, he grabbed Jensen and hugged him and just said, "I'm proud of you," basically. And then Jensen's music kind of sounds a little bit like a Journey, where they try to help, license music for him that one day. So they just decided to do an instrumental version of Journey, which I really hope they do that with a lot of guys. I wish they would bring Jimmy Hart to WWE to work on music and do what they did with wrestlers in WCW, where they just did like not royalty free, but like instrumental versions of known songs. Like Jimmy Hart always found a way to kind of skate by without getting like copyright strikes, because Jericho had Pearl Jam, Raven had Nirvana. Few others had like music that sounded similar to other songs. DDP, there you go, had Nirvana, but they always found a way to skate by and not get copyrighted. So I don't know. WWE needs to bring in Jimmy Hart. That's just me. Or just just offer like a buttload of money to Jim Johnston, and he doesn't even have to like come to work to do anything. He can just do his work at home. Just do that. Bring in Jim Johnston. Come on, people. All right. Let's see. Ariana Grace and JC Jane had a match. Thea Hale still love struck on Riley Osborne for some reason. This is an okay match. I mean, again, I'm a JC Jane guy. I do love me some Janet Jack me. As Kevin Castle so famously refers to her as. The storyline in this match was during the match when Grace was outside the ring, JC was yelling at Thea to hit her, but the referee was watching the whole time. So I didn't think that made sense from a heel perspective. It's like, well, the referee's watching. Shouldn't you try to distract the ref? But I don't know. So when the referee's not looking, Jasmine Nix hits Ariana Grace, and then JC gets the win. And now there's dissension. JC is looking at Jasmine as her new best friend, and Thea feels left out. So there's that. Carmelo Hayes, headed back to the barbershop to talk about, basically just to shit on Trick Williams even more, which I'm good with. I like this. I like Melo. It's weird saying new Melo because Melo's been a heel before, but I like the fact that Melo is not doing the quintessential heel thing of I'm gonna be really morose and quiet and monotone. Like, he's just basically going back to being old Melo, and that's being a dick and just being this scummy kind of douchebag heel, and it works. It's entertaining. Jay Malachi was on Level Up, right? I mean to watch that because I heard good things about it. But this sets up him and Ilya at was it Roadblock? So we'll see how that goes. Dijak had Joe Gacy trapped in a glass room, which I thought that was just good. That was just good shit. I love Dijak. The Joe Gacy just being crazy stuff. It works on small doses, and I liked, Luca Crucifino, who's supposed to be like the lawyer, saying that is this legal, and then Dijak saying this is my hard justice. So I love Dijak. I will never stop loving Dijak. He's great. Yet a number one contender match with Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Chase U with Riley Osborne to see who will face the NXT Tag Champions. Again, good back and forth action. I like Chase U. I was thinking they were going to give it to Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Not sure why they didn't, but again, I can't complain about Chase U. They've gone through the ringer. They just finally got their school back, so gotta give them something, people. So they won, and then the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows came out to take them out. I mean, hey, you need something for them to do because now AJ's pissed at them, and AJ doesn't want anything to do with them anymore. So they need something to do, rather because that to me that just seemed like that was what they were getting paid for, was just to hang around with AJ. And when AJ was gone, they weren't really doing anything. So I mean, I like WWE for that. Is like, hey, let's give these guys something to do. Let's put them in NXT. So good to see him in NXT. Yeah. All right. What's next? Kalani Jordan versus I'm flubbing up my words. Kalani Jordan versus Lash Legend. Good to see Kalani. Like her. Haven't seen enough of her, at the beginning of the year, but good to see her. She wrestled Lash, which, again, I said this on Twitter X last night. I gotta eat crow. Lash Legend has improved. So far, she's on my list for most improved. She is finally wrestling like a big girl. And, the whole thing where she slammed Otis is like, okay, that's cool, but what else can you do? And she is working. Granted, they're putting her in the ring with smaller girls that can work, i.e. Kalani, and it's working. So good for Lash, and we're gonna see more of Lash, later on the show. But she got the win after there was some distraction from Jakara Jackson, and Lash did her super choke slam on Kalani. So cool. And then the main event, you had the NXT Women's Championship. All right, Savage. You had the NXT Women's Championship, Lyra Valkyria versus Shotzi. Again, this was taped, so we kind of heard what was going on, before the match. So they were having a match for, 5-6 minutes, and then they were doing a spot where Shotzi has Lyra in almost like a position where Randy Orton does his DDT, except it was outside the ring. So Shotzi goes for the move, and then she ends up just simply landing on her feet outside of the ring. And that's where the injury occurred. So I was a little shocked that WWE aired the match. But they aired it. So she gets hurt, and then the referee throws up the X sign, and it's kind of fucked up. They do picture in picture, and they're showing a Pizza Hut commercial or whatever the fuck, while this poor girl's being carted out of the arena. It's buy a large pepperoni pizza with crazy sticks, and the whole time this poor girl just got hurt. So it's just poor marketing. But I don't know, I just thought that was fucked up. But it's fucked up and it's funny. So Roxanne gets carted out. They come back, and Ava Rain, the GM of NXT, she comes out to say, hey, Roxy can't come back, but I promise you guys a title match. So this is now an open challenge. Lash Legend comes out and wrestles Lyra. It was a decent match. It was a decent 6-minute match. NXT got a little bit of overrun. There's a nice little bit during the match where the girls are watching the match in the back, and you see Roxanne, who looked like she, just took a shower or whatever, and she's like, wait, what's going on? And she's saying Roxanne got hurt, and Lash, took the spot or whatever, and Roxanne's like, what the fuck? And she grabs a TV and just throws it on the floor. I thought that was funny. But again, decent match. Lash, again, I think Lash has improved. And she showed it against the women's champion. So she really proved herself out there. But Lyra got the win, as we kind of all figured. And yeah, that was the end. That was the end of NXT. Decent show, as usual. NXT, the show, never really seems to disappoint. And that's that. As you guys can imagine, I did not watch AEW. So usually it'd be Justin that would be reviewing AEW, but since Justin is not here, no AEW review. Sorry, guys. So let's get into other things. Let's get into sorry, Savage. So let's get into TV ratings for this week, if this screen will load any faster. Okay, here we go. So TV ratings for this week. Let's start on SmackDown from last week. So NXT TV ratings haven't come out. God damn it. So last Friday, SmackDown for the February 16th episode of 2024 drew a 2.5 million with a 0.75 in the demo, which is actually a little bit down, not too much, but a little bit. So yeah, good for them. And then Monday Night Raw from this past Monday drew a 1.8 and a 0.63 in the demo, and that's actually up from last week, so good on Raw. How far are we? Rampage drew from February the 16th. Drew a 300 with a .09 in the demo. The previous week they drew a 456, so they're actually down. But sorry about that. Was there even a collision last Saturday? Because I don't see it on here. I don't see any ratings for it. AEW Dynamite from last week, I think we talked about it. Drew an 811. So, yeah, no ratings for NXT. So, there's that. Should I do news or should I do Elimination Chamber? I'll do Elimination Chamber, then I'll do news. Alright, so Elimination Chamber is going to be this Saturday, 5 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Or just Eastern Time. And 4 in the morning for me, since I'm Central Time. So it's going to be early in the morning, peeps. Who's ever up to watch it or who's just going to catch the replay, it's there. It's going to be in Burswood, Western Australia, in the Optus Stadium, which apparently is a brand new arena. I know Triple H just put up a video on Instagram where he talked about it. So let's talk about these matches. So far, there's 4 matches, which good. I think this is really all you need. This is all you need are these matches, and there's going to be a Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes and Seth. I imagine it's going to set up Mania. So give me one. Let me mute my mic one more time just to clear my throat, so you guys don't have to hear that shit. Give me 1 second. All right. Right. So Elimination Chamber. Let's start with the matches. The Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match. You have the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus New Catch Republic. I forgot they called themselves that on Friday. And that's Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I like these two together. I'm glad they put these two in a tag team. I think I remember pitching this idea. But this is when you have the Brawling Brutes. I was thinking you can bring Tyler Bate and the Brawling Brutes and have him and Butch kind of be the odd couple tag team of Tyler Bate's the nice guy and he's friendly and Butch is kind of a dick, which kind of seems like the tag team they're going for right now, but good to see them. Going for Judgment Day on this one. They're going to win. Like I mentioned, it kind of looks like they're going to drop the tag titles at Mania to R-Truth and Miz, for like a feel-good, match. Kind of like last year with Sami Zayn and the Usos, that feel-good moment, except this isn't going to main event. But, I mean, this should be a good match. Nonetheless, I can't really deny it won't. But Judgment Day's winning. Women's Elimination Chamber match. The winner gets a Women's World Championship match at WrestleMania 40, or XL, which I'm glad they're going back to Roman numerals. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Raquel Rodriguez. Becky is going to win. They've pretty much made it really obvious that Becky's going to win, unless they pull a swerve. I know RJ mentioned on the show earlier that he thinks it's way too obvious and might even be Raquel, which I wouldn't hate if it was Raquel, but the last time we had Raquel and Rhea in a match, it kind of stunk. I mean, they had a really good match in NXT, I remember once, but that was then, this is now. But I think it's going to be Becky. I think everybody kind of thinks it's going to be Becky. Yeah, it's not a Mania match. I'm just pointing out something. But it's definitely not going to be Bianca. I think they're going to say Bianca and Rhea for next year's Mania. Like, they really they want that match to mean something. And right now, Bianca's still over and she's still a star. But she's kind of she's not watered down, but she's kind of cooled off a little bit. I don't even know what Bianca's going to do at Mania, so we'll kind of cross our bridge when we get to it. But it's going to be Becky. No doubt in my mind it's going to be Becky. So, who do you guys think is going to win? Put your comments in the chat. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax for the Women's World Championship. I mean, I would think this would be the main event since Rhea's from Australia, the show's in Australia, and she's on the poster. So she's going to be like Jesus times 5 for this show. So I would think this would be the main event. If it's not, that'd be kind of crazy. It'd be like when Backlash was in Puerto Rico and the main event wasn't Bad Bunny and Damien, which it should have been the main event. But I think this should be the main event. It should be. It really should be. But either way, yeah, it's going to be Rhea Ripley and Nia. I'm a little worried about this match. I know, like, the big thing in the match is going to be if Rhea can do Riptide on Nia. And hopefully Nia doesn't do anything stupid in the match, like hurt Rhea. I mean, again, I've been on the side of Nia recently where I'm like, well, she's actually improved. She's not... I don't want to say not terrible. She needs to work on her promo presence. But she's getting the heel side of things because she knows people hate her, and she's like, well, you think I'm a cunt? I'm going to act like a cunt. So, and then I think she's gotten better in the ring. So I think the aesthetic is just going to be people wanting to see Rhea regardless of what she does. Because Rhea can just sit there and just sit in the middle of the ring and just stare at everybody, and people will still cheer it. So... But yeah, just the whole place is going to go nuts when she does the Riptide to Nia, and then she mounts her. Like that's going to get everybody going nuts in the ring. They're going to be throwing babies in the air. So, but this should main event, and Rhea's obviously going to win, and then the show's more likely to end with Rhea and Becky facing off, to end the show. And then the men's Elimination Chamber match to see who's going to face the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins at WrestleMania XL. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. It's going to be Drew. I mean, again, Drew's the hot thing right now. You got to strike when the iron's hot. Randy, it's funny. It's kind of messed up. Like, it's kind of messed up. Like Randy just came back at Survivor Series, and now it's almost feels like he's an afterthought. And I like Randy. So, but I don't know. I kind of hope they find something for Randy to do at Mania, like something. I don't want to say meaningful because who else is Randy got a feud with? He's not going to feud with the Bloodline. They're already busy with Cody. So hopefully they find something for him to do. Bobby Lashley, I joked earlier on RJ's podcast that I think he's going to take the first pin, and that pissed off Monty because Monty's a big Bobby Lashley fan. I like Bobby Lashley too. I'm kind of perplexed that he's in the match because he hasn't really done anything. I mean, you look at everybody in the match; they've at least done something. But Bobby hasn't really done anything. But again, I'm not complaining that he's in the match, but he doesn't really. I guess they just need somebody like another star, quote unquote, in the match. But LA Knight is still over. People love him, even though he's kind of cooled off a little bit, and he's more than likely going to feud with Logan at Mania. Big Bob being choked out by Cross. Do you think that's going to happen? You think it's going to happen during the match or after the match? Or no, like during the match or before the match, I mean. Like Cross is going to sneak up on Bobby while he's in an interview and choke his ass out. I don't know, like the whole, like during the match, I don't know, that'd be a little, it'd be one of those things that, like, if it happens, make it make sense. And not just like happen randomly, I think it would make more sense if he's like doing an interview before the match and like Cross chokes his ass out and they just find somebody to replace him. Oy, Savage Elite, oof. Yeah. Not judging. But, and then Kevin Owens is Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens is pretty much going to be in the spot he's always going to be at. And then Logan Paul is Logan Paul. He's a name. He's over. He's going to do something crazy in the match. But I think all in all, Drew's going to win. You're going to probably see some feuds start in the match. You're probably going to see LA Knight and Logan's feud start in this match. But yeah, Drew's going to win. And Drew's going to go on to face Seth at Mania. And he's going to win, like he should. Well, that's Elimination Chamber, people. And let's get to some news, and we're gonna call it a night. WWE full roster for 2K24 release. That game's coming out pretty soon. Legends alumni. Let's just go through this. It's going to come out on March 8th. Macho Man Randy Savage, Ravishing Rick Rude, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Superstar Billy Graham, Andre the Giant, Bad Bunny, Batista, Beth Phoenix, Big Boss Man, Boogeyman, Booker T, Bray Wyatt, Bret the Hitman Hart, British Bulldog, Bruno Sammartino, Cactus Jack, Chyna, Diesel, Doink the Clown, Dude Love, Dusty Rhodes, Eddie Guerrero, Eric Bischoff, Eve Torres, why is she a legend? Farouk, Harley Race, Hollywood Hogan, brother, Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake Roberts, JBL, Jerry the King Lawler, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, John Cena, Kane, Kevin Nash, Lita, Mankind, Maurice, Mighty Molly, Molly Holly, Muhammad Ali. Okay, that's interesting. Both Steiners, so Rick and Scott, Rikishi, Rob Van Dam, Ronda Rousey, Scott Hall, Shane McMahon, Shawn Michaels, Stacy Keibler, Stephanie McMahon, Stardust, that's funny, Six, Ted DiBiase, The Fiend, The Hurricane, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people, The Rock, The Undertaker, Triple H, Chris Benoit, not Chris Benoit, I'm fucking with you guys, Trish Stratus, Tyler Breeze, Ultimate Warrior, Umaga, Uncle Howdy. For the love of God, there's too many fucking people. Uncle Howdy, Vader, Wade Barrett, William Regal, X-Pac, Yokozuna. Okay, this is a lot of people on this roster. Fuck it, I'm already on here. You guys wanted to hear this. Raw, Akira Tozawa, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Big E, Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, Candice LeRae, Carmella, I was going to say Cedric the Entertainer, Cedric Alexander, Chad Gable, Chelsea Green, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Dexter Lumis, Dominic Mysterio, Eric, Finn Balor, Giovanni Vinci, Gunther, Indy Hartwell, Ivar, JD McDonough, Jey Uso, Johnny Gargano, Liv Morgan, Ludwig Kaiser, Maxine Dupree, Natalya, Nikki Cross, Otis, Piper Nevin, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Ricochet, R-Truth, Sami Zayn, Seth freaking Rollins, Shayna Baszler, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sonya Deville, Tegan Nox, The Miz, Tommaso Ciampa, Valhalla, Xavier Woods, and Zoe Stark. Now for the SmackDown roster. Oh boy, I need to get some water for this. AJ Styles, Alba Fire, Angelo Dawkins, Ashanti the Adonis, Asuka, Austin Theory, Bayley, Bobby Lashley, Butch, Cameron Grimes, Charlotte Flair, Cruz del Toro, Dakota Kai, Owen Prince, Grayson Waller, Isla Dawn, Io Sky, Jimmy Uso, Joaquin Wilde, Karrion Kross, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Kevin Owens, Kit Wilson, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Luke Gallows, Mia Yim, Montez Ford, MVP Omos, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Ridge Holland, Robert Roode, Roman Reigns, Santos Escobar, Scarlett, Sheamus, Shotzi, Solo Sequoia, Tamina, Zia Lee, and Zelina Vega. Now on to NXT, Jesus Christ. Andre Chase, Angel Garza, Apollo Crews, Axiom, Baron Corbin, Blair Davenport, Braun Breaker, Butch Jensen, Brutus Creed, Carmelo Hayes, Shanny Staggs Lorenzo, Cora Jade, Damon Kemp, Dijak, Drew Gulak, Duke Hudson, Fallon Henley, Gigi Dolan, and all that ass. Umberto, Ilya Dragunov, Ivy Nile, JC Jane, Jinder Mahal, Joe Coffey, Joe Gacy, Josh Briggs, Julius Creed, Nathan Frazier, Nikita Lyons, Philip Jar, Roxanne, Sega, Scripps, The Tiffany Stratton, Tony D'Angelo, Jesus fucking Christ, Trick Williams, Tyler Bates, Veer Mahan, Wendy Chu, Wesley, and Wolfgang. Managers: B-Fab, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Kathy Kelly, Mick Foley, Miss Elizabeth, Paul Barrett, Paul Heyman, and Theodora Long. There you go. There you go. That's everybody. Part of the Nightmare Family Pack pre-order bonus offer available through March 7th. I'm not reading anymore. Fuck this. Savage, I was just literally naming the entire roster for WWE 2K24. It was fun. Alright. Not really on news. The Rock and $7 Productions working on Ric Flair movie. $7 Productions, led by The Rock and Danny Garcia, is currently in the process of creating a film about Ric Flair's life and career. Hiram Garcia and Kevin Misher, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Misher Films, will also be in producing the project. Their previous collaboration was on the movie Fighting for My Family, which focused on Saraya's life and career. The Rock says, as a kid who grew up in professional wrestling, I idolized the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He was a hero to me, and once I broke into the wrestling business and began to spill my own sweat and blood, my reverence for Rick turned to respect. Because I realized just how rare and impossible it is to disrupt the wrestling business culture and truly change the game. That's exactly what Ric Flair did. This project is personal, and we can't wait to tell this unbelievable story. As always, thank you for the house, Rick. Hey, that'd be cool. I mean, personally, I would have preferred if A24 did it, but, you know, that's just me. So cool. I know Sebastian Stan, who plays, you know, the Winter Soldier in Marvel, he threw his hat in the, you know, his name in the hat of playing Ric Flair. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. He's a good actor. Maybe he can pull it off, and I think Ric Flair kind of endorsed it. So, why the fuck not? Hold on. There is something in my phone, and it will not come off. All right. Are you kidding me? Veteran producer and director Jennifer Pepperman joins AEW as VP of Content Development. We actually talked about this on Friday. So Jennifer Pepperman, who worked with WWE, she left. And, I mean, we didn't really have too much to add to it because we didn't really know too much about her work. But now she's all elite. As the World Turns on One Life to Live would be exiting her longtime role as a senior writer and producer at WWE, working primarily for WWE Friday Night SmackDown since 2017. Now comes the word that Pepperman has joined AEW as VP of Content Development. In her new role, Pepperman will work alongside Tony Khan, CEO and head of creative, in the development of content for AEW Dynamite, live on TBS every Wednesday, Rampage on Friday, and Collision on Saturday. Adding Jennifer Pepperman's brilliant mind to the AEW team opens the door for exciting new ideas and will help us build upon the incredible stories currently developing on the road to AEW Revolution across our 3 weekly shows on TBS and TNT. And the effects of Jennifer's arrival in AEW will be felt for many years for the future, or in the future, Khan said in the statement. We're thrilled to welcome her today, and I look forward to her creativity and collaboration with our team across the board, and will be AEW's biggest year yet and beyond. And then her IMDb page, she started her daytime career in 1998 as a producer for One Life to Live, and then in 2000 she joined As the World Turns, and actually won an Emmy. She won 3 daytime Emmys throughout her career for As the World Turns. So, I mean, hey, good for AEW. They got a legit Emmy winner. They got somebody who worked in WWE for years, and you know, helped add, you know, good shit to their television programming on SmackDown. So, and I don't know if you got. I'm pretty sure everyone saw the clip, you know, of O'Shea Jackson Jr. talking about AEW, which I think a lot of people might have took that as him shitting on the brand. I think it was just him saying, you know, the company needs to improve, kind of like how we've all been saying. And I'm a guy who wants AEW to succeed. I'm talking about me in particular. I would like AEW to succeed. I want their TV shows to get better. And now you have somebody who worked for the competition and who actually has 3 Emmys, who's going to help, you know, what did O'Shea say? Cinema that shit up a little bit. So, this can only be good for AEW. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm always going to be on the side of wait and see, because at the end of the day, it's Tony's company and Tony wants to run everything. That's always my worry with the company, is that Tony needs to let the reins go a little bit and focus on running the rest of the company and let somebody else book it and run the show creatively. So that's just me. Do not want the company to fail in any way. And then another piece of news, not really news, it's more of just a statement. This is kind of the last thing I'm going to say. John Cena, when asked about the Vince McMahon allegations on the Howard Stern show, he wrote a very long, he said something really kind of, I guess it's taken as a tone deaf, but, whatever. He said, I don't think it's complicated to talk about. I think it's complicated to listen to. That's why I don't necessarily put a lot of time and equity into it. There's still a long way to go. I can say this. I'm a big advocate of love and friendship and honesty and communication. In the same breath, I'm also a big advocate of accountability. If someone's behavior lies so far outside of your value system that the balance shifts of, I can't operate in a world where this works, that's the end result of being accountable. Right now, I'm gonna love the person I love, be their friend, and then I love you. You have a hill to climb. There's a saying of, you don't know who your friends are until shit hits the fan or your back is against the wall. That doesn't make any of what's going on easier to swallow. Just telling someone you love them. It's a hill to climb, and we'll see what happens. That's that. It sounds so cliche, but it has to be one day at a time. I've openly said I love the guy and I have a great relationship with the guy, and that's that. It's largely my construct of operating with honesty and communication. Those are strong leads to handling any problem and achievement. The whole thing is super unfortunate and it sucks. It deals with an individual I love and an entity I love. I want everybody to have the experience that I had. Not only do I tell a friend that I love them, but I switch to the entity and say, how can I help? Okay. I'm not going to jump on John's back for this, because on one hand, his heart was in the right place. That's a friend. Vince is a friend. On the other hand, he also is very what's the word? I don't think John is as smart as he thinks he is, because I have another quote from Randy talked about the same thing, where he was speaking to Sports Illustrated and asked him about the allegations. And he says, I've got to say this, I wouldn't be where I am without Vince McMahon taking a chance on me a handful of times. I would not be where I am today without Vince McMahon. But fuck, I'm reading this shit, what you've seen and read, and I've seen and read. As far as commenting on that, it fucking hurts my heart. It hurts my heart. That was the right thing to say. In this situation, that was the right public relations thing to say, is to just say, hey, Vince did A, B, C, and D for me, but what he did was horrible. And for John decided to go the positive route instead of condemning the actions. Instead of just saying, hey, Vince has always been a good friend, but what's going on is horrible, and my heart goes out to the victims. That's what he really should have said. And not try to openly defend somebody who's being accused of the most heinous, awful acts against another human being. It's kind of similar to that 70s show actor, Danny Masterson, who was accused of rape against multiple women, and Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, openly supported him, and they actually wrote letters to the judge to give him a lesser sentence. And the letter literally said, we know the victims want justice, but Danny is a good guy. And, the actors who played Red and Kitty said the same shit. Fucking Topher Grace just said, I'm not dealing with this. So, all in all, if you're going to support your friends, support them in silence, especially when this kind of shit's happening. More so when this shit's happening. I think Cena should just really have just read the room. I think Cena knew better, and his PR team is gonna work overnight to fix this shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another statement from John kind of changing what he said. But just again, I'm not gonna hate John. I'm not gonna condemn him for defending a friend. I just really think he should have just read the room better, because this just does not look good for him at all. At all. Because at the point, Cena he's not the face of WWE anymore. Now he's one of the faces of Hollywood. He's doing Peacemaker for DC. he's doing other movies. So this is not looking very bueno for him. So he's going to need to find a way to fix this, and quick. But that's all the news I have. And I can do This Day in Wrestling History and wrap everything up. This Day in Wrestling History, February the 21st. February the 21st. Why can't I talk? 1993 WCW Super Bowl the 3rd took place on pay-per-view from the Asheville Civic Center in Asheville, North Carolina. The sole title change on the show saw Barry Windham defeat the Great Muta to win the NWA World Championship. In the main event, Big Van Vader defeated Sting in a White Castle of Fear leather strap match. A White Castle of Fear. Someone's going to need to post a clip of what that is. When I think of White Castle, I think of one thing. 1999 Super Brawl was WCW's second pay-per-view of the year and took place at the Oakland Arena in Oakland, California. In the main event, Hollywood Hogan retained the World Championship against Ric Flair. Elsewhere, the Outsiders defeated Conan and Rey Mysterio in a hair versus mask match. Pretty sure that was when Rey took off the mask. As a result, Mysterio had to remove his mask. Yeah, there you go. For the first time in his career, Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig of the West Texas Rednecks won the WCW Tag Team Championships against Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko in a tournament final. 2005, on Monday Night Raw, Royal Rumble winner Batista made his choice of who he wanted to face at Mania with his main event title shot, and he chose stablemate Triple H. I remember that. That was great. Like, that still gives me goosebumps to this day. Just, was it Triple H, admitting, that he's the one that, that put the idea in his head that JBL was shitting on him, and even bought the Longhorns and put them on the, the limo, and had it go after Dave. And, he's talking shit about Batista, and Batista's in the other corner like, all right, this motherfucker. And that's when he did the ever famous, I've known what I was going to do for a long time. And then does the thumbs up, thumbs down, takes out Triple H, and then tells Triple H, at WrestleMania, I'm taking the World Heavyweight Championship from you. That was huge. It's still huge to this day. 2010, WWE's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view took place at the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis, Missouri, on a night of high drama and 2 Elimination Chamber matches. Both major WWE titles changed hands. In the first Chamber match, John Cena successfully defended his WWE title against Sheamus, Triple H, Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase Jr., and Kofi Kingston. Immediately after the match, Mr. McMahon decreed that Cena must defend his title against Batista. The Animal won the match and the title in just 31 seconds. In the main event, Chris Jericho won the World Heavyweight Championship in a chamber match against the champion, The Undertaker. I think that was the same night where Taker almost burnt. Like, he was coming out, and the flames are coming out, and he almost got burnt. Well, he did get burnt. Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, John Morrison, R-Truth, and CM Punk. The win came after Jericho's hated rival Shawn Michaels helped him win the match in order to anger The Undertaker and goaded him into agreeing to face Michaels in a rematch at WrestleMania from the previous year's show of shows encounter. Jesus Christ, it's a mouthful. 2011, in one of the most unique segments in Raw history, both The Undertaker and Triple H made their returns and confronted each other and agreed to a match at Mania. I remember that too. They were showing those vignettes where they kind of implied that Sting was coming to WWE and that they were going to do Sting and Undertaker at Mania. And I believe that was kind of the idea that they already had in place, but the story was Sting got cold feet and he signed back with TNA. So they ended up inserting Triple H into the match, which I can't complain about the match. The match was actually really good. It was a great Mania match. Triple H came out to For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica, and Taker came out to Johnny Cash, and Taker won the match. So one of the best WrestleMania matches I can remember. One of them. 2014, Ring of Honor presented their 12th anniversary show. No titles changed at the event. In the main event, Kevin Steen defeated Cliff Compton in a Philadelphia street fight. 2016, WWE's Fastlane pay-per-view took place at Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. In the main event, Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in a triple threat match to secure a WWE Championship match with Triple H at WrestleMania 32. And then 2017, where did I go? 2017, an episode of SmackDown, Alexa Bliss defeated Becky Lynch to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. So, that's everything that happened on this day in wrestling history. And that's everything, people. That's everything I have. That's all the news. That's all the shows I'm reviewing. And that's me talking about Elimination Chamber this Saturday. So, like I mentioned, this Saturday, since the show is early in the morning, we were already doing a Q&A in that place. But we're also going to make it a half Q&A, half review show. So, if you guys already didn't send in any questions, please send some questions. Even if you have, send in more questions. But that's pretty much it. I'm done for the night. I don't have anything else to talk about. I want to thank everybody that did show up tonight. Savage Elite, RJ, my man. I'll text you in a bit. Devin, the Tribal Chief, my man. Thank you for making your debut in the chat room tonight. Kyle K. I hope I'm saying this right. Life is good. Life is good. I think that's a play on words. Life is good. Maurice Bear and Scott. And everybody else that showed up. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And Justin should be back on Saturday. I hope he's back. But thanks, Devin. But we guys will see you Saturday for the half Q&A, half review show. And we will be back next time on our regularly scheduled time. And that's about it, peeps. So you should be seeing this show in a bit. And shouts to everybody who does support the show and who's friends of ours and who shows us love. So, and oh yeah, the Patreon. How can I forget about the Patreon? The Patreon is only $5 a month. It's usually non-wrestling content. I do shows with Mr. RJ here, which we were supposed to do one earlier, but schedules got in the way. But we will do one. We will get that out of the way because we have Schnitt to talk about. We have Schnitznet to talk about. So, and then Ruben Prime, you know that guy, right? We do a show called Culture Attack, which is usually every other Monday. We just did a show recently where we talked about Marvel, we talked about the news, the trailers, what have you, and of course some wrestling talk. So that show's already out. And I just did a show yesterday with Jeff Lippman. We haven't done a show in a while regarding the Dream, where we kind of talked about similar content and just movies we've been watching. So look out for that. But yeah, just $5 a month, people. You won't be disappointed from what you hear. You will love it. You will be begging for more. And hey, the more subscribers we get, the more tiers we can open up, and we might even give away some shit. So I don't know. Maybe RJ will show up to your house and I don't know, choke you. If that's what RJ's into. RJ, are you into doing that? If like an extra $10 a month for a tier, are you into that? I know you're into that. I just put RJ on the spot. I'm sorry. For the women, yes. There you go. For the women, RJ will choke you for a $10 a month tier. For a $20 a month tier, Jeff Lippman will show up to your house and you can berate him with insults, and he will just sit there and eat potato chips the whole time. And maybe for an extra $25 a month, you can stroke Ruben Prime's beard, and he will purr like a kitten. So I'm gonna have to talk about this with these guys. I'm pretty sure everyone except for Ruben will have a problem with it. But other than that, thank you guys. We will see you this Saturday, and peace out.